Oh, holy shit. This day is hot as fuck. Hi there. Just went off grid 2 minutes ago with the internet, so while waiting to establish a new and more stable connection with the web, I'm gonna try to vlog my first episode of this new series called Muddy Sounds. I'm gonna try to record this seamless and nostalgic sound of cicadas in this afternoon here in Greece, just with my phone, you know. Hope it won't sound too crappy. Then I go for a digital editing, hoping to achieve, I don't know, some interesting and inspiring sound sample out of it. So, without further ado, let's record now. We got it, we got cicadas in here. Job is done, so let's move now to Logic, where I have imported all the recorded audio files, and I've chosen one out of them which seemed to fit well in my project, that is, with almost no background noise, stable in its envelope curve for all its length and forte enough. As a starting point, I follow pretty much the same steps Christian Hansen is using in his video on making music out of rain. I use my recording not just as an oscillator by itself, but actually as an influencer, an oscillator from other outcoming sources. My aim has been from the very beginning to create a new instrument, but I really didn't know how to proceed along this path. Totally new for me. I mean, that has been my first try to create a new sound, working with sound design, sample it, and realize my first sample library using Kontakt. Yeah, that has been quite a tricky road, I must confess, but hey, smooth seas don't make great sailors. So with that said, let's see what's under the hood of Sycadas. I first copied the audio region containing the recording, reversed it and copied it once more, the original file at the end, made then quite massive crossfades to obtain smoother conjunctions between these three regions. So this is the original recording edited in that way, just cicadas. I output this recording, then to bus 1 muted the bus and load new sine wave instrument track with EXS, where I inserted a compressor. Then I sidechained this compressor just to bus 1 and I massively tweaked threshold and ratio. That's how the sine wave sounds by itself, being triggered just by the cicadas. Finally, I inserted the Logic AU pitch plugin just to bring it down to an octave, and the Lala shimmer reverb. Starting to sound something. I very soon realized I wanted my cicadas being the one and only source, triggering all other stuffs like MIDI VST, audio plugins, MIDI plugins and whatnot. So my question has been, how the hell can I create an instrument which will be triggered in, let's say, 99% of its parts by my recording? By the way, as things were going on, it just became clear to me that my instrument should have sounded like a sort of synth-piano, and its name should have been by no means Sycadas, spelled S-Y, period. So with all that in mind, I carried on my quest. I created 2 different tracks where I loaded Alfred Arnold's felt grand piano by Spitfire Audio. In the first one I used just a touch and added just a bit of compression, whilst in the second one I inserted a lot of plugins. You know, just to be very cheeky, I guess. First off, I added a compressor with the same tweakings I had already made for the sine wave, and duplicated it 2 more times just to ensure its envelope being strong enough to produce some fancy effects. Added then the Logic Fat FX and Autofilter plugins. I finally added another aux track for the Valhalla shimmer reverb And I made some adjustment on the volume faders of each instrument to find a good balance among all the instruments as well as the right sound was looking after. This is how it sounds with the sine wave and the two felt pianos. Fascinating, isn't it? But actually, I was feeling something else was missing. To some extent, I needed more cicadas in here, in the whole instrument, meaning I wanted to provide just a little bit of sparkling, bubbling sound, which could recall in the end the murmuring and rumbling voices of these insects. Hence, I decided to go for a glockenspiel. In excess, I raised up the attack time of the envelope to get rid just of the initial transient and provided much longer release, so the instrument started immediately to sound something odd and pretty different from a real glockenspiel. I then added some basic cueing, flanger and tremolo. And last but not least, I inserted 4 MIDI effects. The note stepper scripter, the random offset probability scripter, the note repeater, and lastly in the chain, the probability gate scripter. And all that just to give a sense of randomness to the whole things. But it wasn't yet enough for me, I added a sent new aux track where I inserted again Valhalla shimmer reverb and a stereo delay. I then created a new aux track where I loaded the Logic pitch shift plugin and sent it to the Glocken aux track. Oh, by the way, in the Valhalla shimmer aux track I inserted a send to the pitch shift as well, so creating a sort of feedback and distortion circuit between reverb and pitch shift. I finally decided to hear just the wet signal of my glockenspiel, so I put the send to its aux track in pre-fader mode. Let's hear now the final result of this weird glockenspiel by itself. So, cut a long story short, here the Sycadas synth piano with 3 main faders. The Logic pitch shift, the volume of Sycadas / glockenspiel, and one last MIDI fader controlling the amount of it. Christian Hansen, you're definitely right. Working with sound design is pretty much like cooking. I'm 100% behind that, really. It's fascinating. Now I just want to point out that this whole instrument is simply nothing, just not playable without the original Sycadas recording. Meaning that's how it sounds like if I'm gonna stop the recording. Just clipping now and then. Rubbish. Just unusable. I genuinely have been moved by all this process, so I decided to go till the end of it. I asked myself, what makes for a good digital instrument? Well, nowadays, a good Kontakt library, I guess. That really brings the icing on the cake. So I sampled my instrument with 3 velocity ranges, piano, mezzo forte, forte, as well as the effects provided by the pitch shift and glockenspiel cicada. Then I imported all the samples in Kontakt and started, all the process from the assigning of the samples to the right place on the keyboard, fine chopping them, and my dears, scripting. And here it is, my brand new Sycadas synth-piano sample library, provided with 3 knobs, a main big central knob controlling the amount of pitch shift and distortion, which I called hot knob, hence reminding us to the feeling of summer kind of sensation of numbness and blurred dream, a mirage, a left knob for the volume of our synthetic cicadas, and a right knob for reverb. And of course, being that a Kontakt library, you can apply MIDI learn functions to MIDI control all the knobs you want to. And I love that. I realized my own original GUI with the knobs, graphic and all the stuff. I want to stress something here. That is, I'm definitely not a programmer, and that's why I've spent so much time trying to understand the right scripts I needed to write down in that window. Oh god, I've lost count how many times I changed these little numbers in the Kontakt script to link the knobs I created to the right parameters, and trust me, you can't do that with any ease. Well, at least if you're not a computer guy. Anyway, I'm really proud of my new baby here. And I'm gonna put a link in the comments below if you want to download it. So for the time being, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, subscribe, ding that bell if you want to be notified for all next upcoming videos, and thumbs up. I guess for my cheesy sound design experiment and my hard-earned attempt to get my first sample library out of it. And last but not least, a big thanks to Christian Hansen, my real inspiration beyond all that. And thanks to you all for joining me. I'll catch you next time. Take care.